County Executive Adam Bello. Senator Samra Brook. Assembly Member Sarah Clark. Assembly Member Jen Lunsford. Assembly Member Daman Meeks. Assembly Member Harry Bronson. Your Rochester City Mayor, Malik Evans. And now, please rise and join me in welcoming the 57th Governor of the great state of New York, Governor Kathy Hochul.
Good morning. Good morning. It's great to be back in Rochester once again. Today I'm here on a very serious matter. I'm here to outline new steps that my administration is taking to combat the recent spat of crime in Rochester. Because I know people are hurting. I know you're angry. I'm angry too. And as governor, it's my #1 priority to keep people safe. It's something I take very seriously, and I think about a lot. So when I see a community like this, a second home to me, I know this area so well. When I see a community traumatized by a string of brutal crimes, my team steps in and we take action. And I want to acknowledge the people I work so closely with. And a special shout out to local law enforcement. I'm so grateful to our sheriff, our police, my state police. Mayor Evans and I have gone a long way back. We've talked about this a lot. He calls me. I can hear in his voice the frustration, the anguish, the desire to just heal this community. So, Mayor Evans, I'm proud to be here with you today. I applaud your efforts, and I know this is so deeply personal to you. Let's give our great mayor a round of applause. Our county executive is here as well, Adam Bello. Thank you for being such an amazing, amazing leader of this community. Our sheriff, Todd Baxter, has joined us. Great to see us, Sheriff. Superintendent of New York State Police, Superintendent James, I want to thank you. You have stepped in. You have found creative solutions, the way to harness the power of the New York State Police to be an ally, a resource, and a friend to our local police. Let's give a round of applause for Joe Popkin, our Executive Director of DCJS. Joe, thank you. And Marco Soler, who I rely on all the time, who does an extraordinary job as our Deputy Secretary for Public Safety. And he's the numbers guy. He's the one I say, are we going up, we going down, we doing better? And so thank you, Marcos, for all you do. And of course, you heard the names of our elected officials. These are my friends, my partners. We have our Assembly Member Harry Bronson, Assembly Member Meeks, Assembly Member Clark, Assembly Member Lunsford, and Senator Brook. I want to thank all of you for being here today. Now, I've talked to the mayor and the police chief and the sheriff about resources. This is not our first meeting. We've gathered in person a number of times over the last few years since I've been governor. We have figured out a playbook for driving down crime. We have done this. Since I became governor, shootings in New York are down 53%. Here in Rochester, and we'll talk about what's going on here in a second, but I do want you to look at the bigger picture. We've made some promising strides. In the first 8 months of this year, shootings are actually down almost 40%. Overall crime is down 38%. And last year, we were here talking about car thefts. We had the highest rate of car thefts, not just in the state, but almost in the entire country. And we announced a comprehensive plan working with local law enforcement, giving them the resources they need to deal with this. Right now, car thefts are down 58% in Rochester. That's concrete, undeniable progress. But despite the great win yesterday, we don't spike the football here, right? We're not spiking the football. We are not done. We are nowhere near done. We have so much work to do. You know, we're doing fairly well with statistics. People starting to feel a little better. And then summer came. And what a summer this has been. A 92-year-old was hit and killed, allegedly by teenagers with weapons in a stolen vehicle. A family of 4, including 2 small children, found slain in a home in Irondequoit. How chilling is that? Gunfire erupts at a barbecue. 7 people. 7 innocent people out there on a beautiful day to celebrate friendship, family. 2 died, including a city employee named Taisha Manning. Her family has joined us today. Please stand. Mother, sister, thank you. Mom, I'm a mom too. It's not supposed to happen like this. We're not supposed to bury our children. You're not supposed to bury your sister. It's not the natural way of life. There's no more searing pain than to lose a child, but to lose a child to such senseless violence hits all of us right here. I wish I could take the pain away from you. I really do. You shouldn't have to be sitting here. She's a beautiful young woman, so appreciated for her work here at City Hall and state and city government. There are no words except to send love your way. May her memory be a blessing that gives you strength to carry on every day. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. The heinous and high-profile nature of these crimes over the span of just a few weeks has literally shaken the psychology of this great community. Because these victims are not statistics, they're loved ones, they're our neighbors, they're our friends. As I said, despite some encouraging progress, we're going to talk about the work that needs to be done. Rochester is doing so much with what they have, but they need help. Rochester, number 1, needs more law enforcement capacity, and we're here to help. They need upgraded crime-fighting technology. We're here to help. And more funding for crime prevention initiatives, which I believe in, and we're here to help. We're delivering on all 3. That's the formula. It's simple, but it's impactful. That's why today I'm here to announce I've directed the state police to deploy up to 25 additional troopers to work directly with the Rochester Police Department. They are yours. Work together, hand in hand. Because I know when you have so many incidents at the same time, it stretches the resources. Everybody's doing their best, but there's only so many hours in a day. There's a lot of crimes unsolved. We want them solved. We want people to speak up. If you've seen something, some video, where are you? Come forward today. These families deserve some peace. You know, I spent a lot of years in local government. I've hired police chiefs. I've hired police officers. I know the hard work they do, and they're not wanting to ask for help. This is not a reflection on them at all. We're just here to say, you lead, we're here with you. I've also been married to a federal prosecutor, 40 years. He was once your United States attorney. He worked so closely, partnerships with the DA's office, chief of police, county executive's office, DAs, sheriffs, everybody. Everybody pulls together, U.S. Attorney's Office. There's incredible power in that coalition, and I want to make sure every bit of it is being harnessed for good. So I know it can be done, and I understand the strain of these incidents on local law enforcement. When you're trying to solve a crime, you're trying to find witnesses. You're trying to bring them forward. You're trying to get them to speak up. You're trying to connect the dots that'll lead you to these perpetrators and lead this community to justice, which right now is overdue for these families that are in such pain. So our state police reinforcements will assist with the investigations. We'll even have them patrol the hotspot areas. We'll be there. We're going to be there, and we're going to work to get this community back on track the way it always should have been and always will be going forward. So the visible presence of more police is powerful. It says you're a community that matters. We want to protect you. We wanted you to go about your daily lives, not worrying about anything. Take care of your family, your kids, your jobs, and we'll do the rest. It's about not just keeping people safe, but they have a God-given right to feel safe too. And that's what's missing right now in this community. And I want that back. I want that back. They should be focused on just everyday lives. Also, to solve, and I'd much rather prevent crimes, but to solve and to prevent crimes, police need more cutting-edge technology. It's out there. It gets expensive. I understand when resources are literally taxed. Costs money. This year, the agencies in Monroe County asked the state for $24 million to upgrade their equipment. That's a lot of money. But we came through with every penny of that. $24 million to help to upgrade their equipment. Rochester PD, the Rochester Police Department received $10 million. $10 million for Rochester PD so they can buy the equipment they need to prevent and solve crimes. Monroe County Sheriff's Office, $11.7 million, the largest police tech grant to any agency in the state. Sheriff Baxter, thank you. What do we do with the money? You can purchase license plate readers, mobile camera systems, drones, body cameras, and smart technology for the police vehicles. Now, less than 2 weeks ago, state police here in Rochester used some of these same high-tech, real-time surveillance tools to catch 5 dangerous criminals that were driving around in an SUV full of guns. That's how the technology works. And we're going to make sure there's more of it out there. Weapons were seized, felony charges are brought, and I know we prevented not just violent crimes, but perhaps we've prevented the devastation that is right now tearing apart Taisha's family. Better tech helps police gather better intelligence. It's that simple. And then they share it with the Crime Analysis Center here in Monroe County, where analysts find patterns, connect the dots, as I said, link suspects and vehicles, and provide real-time support. Now, last year, the Monroe Crime Analysis Center received more than 21,000 service requests. They help solve homicides, break up car thefts, and seize illegal guns. So this is the foundation for that work. The money, the technology, the analysis that follows, and then we take these criminals off the streets and lock them up and say, no more. No more. Now, if there's a common thread here, much of this involves young men and even teenage boys. That in itself is tragic. That alone. You have to say why. Why can't they get on the right path? Where are the role models? Where are the adults who care, give a damn about these kids? There are groups out there. I believe in these groups to my core. I've seen the positive effects of our violence disruption groups. Good people out there putting themselves in harm's way, talking to kids, making connections, relationships. I saw it back in Buffalo, made a huge difference in driving down crime there a long time ago. And it's happening here. And every single person who's involved in the violence disruption community, please stand up. I want to applaud you. Please stand up. Please stand up. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So you're doing the best you can with what you have, and you're going to keep doing it. But I'm going to help you out a little bit more. We're announcing significant investments in community violence prevention groups, the people on the ground doing God's work, helping kids get on the right path, telling someone that they're cared about. By strangers, perhaps, their government, maybe that doesn't matter, but there's somebody who makes a connection and leads them on the right path. For the second straight year, we're announcing $2 million to 14 grassroots organizations through Project Rise. And they provide mental health support, crisis intervention, mentoring, vocational training, you name it. But I said, let's just sweeten that a little bit more. On top of the $2 million, we're going to add $300,000 more to the 6 organizations doing this impactful work for our young people. I want to give you that so you have a little bit more to work with. 585 Snug, Healers Village, Rise Up Rochester, Rock the Peace, Untrapped Ministries, and the City of Rochester Pathways to Peace. Each will receive $50,000 more to support your efforts. So all combined, with today's new funding, we've now committed nearly $39 million this year alone to fight crime, prevent crime, and to solve crimes. And that also includes a record $6.2 million through our gun-involved violence elimination initiative. That is working. $4 million to connect low-income, at-risk kids with jobs. The best crime-fighting tool is a job, I'm convinced. It's all we need. There's jobs there. I talked to CEOs, presidents, companies, small business, large business. They've got the jobs. It's got to make that connection. Got to make the connection. Not every young person has a role model going off to college or going off and getting an apprenticeship program, getting the train. They don't always have that. The jobs are there, but we're putting $4 million to connect them, young people, to these jobs. So we're going to get it done. Help keep them out of trouble, but let them know the dignity of a good job. You're part of society. You can build some generational wealth. Have that job, get that apartment, get the house maybe, have some kids, send them to school. That's the American dream that right now is denied too many, and we're here to change that. So, we have work to do. We have a lot of work to do. It's a job that's never done. We'll be aggressive. We're very aggressive. We'll drive down crime, and invariably, there'll be setbacks. This is a rough summer. But let's look forward. Solving those crimes, putting people behind bars, stopping that. Let's head into a new season where this community knows they have a governor who cares. We'll be there for them to support our elected officials, our law enforcement, all the way, and we'll see this through. We've come here so many times to talk about this. I am seeing positive light. I really am. Let's not ignore the light that's out there. People need to know there's optimism. There's a way to turn the corner. Positive psychology breeds more positive psychology. And I hope going forth from today, people have that sense of a can-do attitude that I know has long defined the people of this region. That resiliency, when you get knocked down, you get back up. We always have. This is one of those moments. This is how we'll be defined. Whether we throw in the towel and say it's going to always be there, we can't do anything, or we say no. Take that towel and wipe the brow, get back in the game. Get back in that game and win it. And that's exactly what we do in this area. So I thank all of you. I thank all of you today. We're not going anywhere. I love this community with all my heart and soul. And I care about the people deeply. And I'll say this, we have great partners. I'm going to continue to rely on them, our mayor, our county executive, our law enforcement, our violence chapter, all my friends in the legislature. Together, we will solve this and finally heal this community. Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce a great champion for this community, the Dean of the Delegation, Assembly Member Harry Bronson.
Thank you, Governor. Can we give the Governor another round of applause for her leadership? It's great when you have partners when you're facing a challenge that our community is facing. And we know it's a very serious challenge. It's one that tears at our hearts. It's one that tears our communities apart. And it's one that we must address together. If we work together, we can solve the problem of crime here in this area. And I'm proud to be standing alongside with my colleagues, certainly my colleagues in the state delegation. We have Daman Meeks, Sarah Clark, Senator Summer Brook, and Assemblymember Jen Lunsford. We all work very closely together, and we've been in communication with the governor's office to make today happen. I also want to thank the mayor, Mayor Evans, the work you're doing. We see the results, and you're a large part of the reason for that result, as well as County Executive Adam Bello. And certainly, we couldn't do this without law enforcement. At the state level, thank you. Sheriff Baxter, you and your team. Chief Smith, you and your team. Thank you, law enforcement, for all you do for our community. So, Governor Hochul, personally, I want to thank you for your past efforts in this regard. You have assisted Rochester and Monroe County to address the absolutely unacceptable level of crime in this area. And we want to thank you for this additional funding you're announcing today. These resources will allow us collaboratively to double down on our efforts to bring crime and violence under control. We know that in all categories of crime, as you just mentioned, Governor, including violent crimes, retail crime, automobile thefts, we are seeing significant trend downward. The downward trends demonstrate that the strategies of prevention and intervention, as well as resources committed over the past few years, are indeed working. But we also know, especially given the recent violent incidences, there is still much work to be done. Working with Governor Hochul, our state delegation, Mayor Evans, County Executive Bello, we are pleased to announce this additional funding and that the state is enhancing its efforts to partner with local officials to make sure that law enforcement is well funded and our community-based organizations are funded so they too can address crime in our neighborhoods. The investments to assist the community-based organizations to implement their on-the-ground prevention strategies will contribute to reducing crime even further while rebuilding our communities and our neighborhoods. The state funding of our law enforcement departments, the investments in technology and equipment, as well as deploying additional resources from the New York State troopers and investigators will help law enforcement in their crime-fighting efforts. Let me take a moment, though, to express my sincere condolences to the families of Taisha Manning, Felicia, Council, Rukia, Isaac, as well as Thomas Chase. The loss of your loved one is felt by the whole community. We grieve with you, and we also want to respond to crime with you. We must make sure that as a community we understand one homicide, one act of violence, one car theft, one robbery is too many, and we must continue our work to make sure we keep our neighborhoods safe. I also commend the dedication, collaboration, and success of the multiple law enforcement agencies who have been working together to react swiftly and efficiently to the senseless violence and other crimes that we have witnessed over the last few weeks. Their efforts to remove offenders from our streets and protect the safety of our families and our community must be recognized, and I want to thank you again. Could we thank the law enforcement officers in the room today? So as we mentioned, evidence shows the crime at all levels is trending downward, but that does not mean our work is done. Far from it. And for the victims, families, and loved ones grappling with the aftermath of crime and violence, data and statistics do not alleviate your pain, and we know that. But today's funding announcement also will support programs to help our young people develop strategies and find opportunities that prevent them from going down that dark path of crime. We must not set our future generations up for failure by ignoring the factors that lead to violence and crime. To put it simply, we will not decrease violence without an equity mindset that supports not only law enforcement, but also supports social and community-based organizations and programs that rebuild our neighborhoods and build our families and strengthens our families. That's why the announcement of investing in 6 additional organizations that will help our young people develop nonviolent alternatives to resolve disputes, implement gun violence prevention, work to establish and maintain a nonviolent culture, and much more. We cannot turn this around if we don't have the community-based organizations with us in partnership. A round of applause for all the community-based organizations. So this funding will amplify the successes that we've had thus far and will help us to continue to prevent and decrease crime, and ensures that we will have a society and neighborhoods where we all feel safe and where we all can be proud of living in. I want to thank you again, Governor, for your leadership and your collaboration on this. Thank you very much. I want to turn the podium now over to a good friend and a colleague in the state legislature, somebody who's always on the ground in the neighborhood and always working for not only the people he represents, but people across the state, and that's my good friend, Daman Meeks.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Assemblyman Daman Meeks, representing the 137th Assembly District. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I want to say thank you, Governor Kathy Hochul, for your commitment to the safety and well-being of the children and families of Monroe County and across New York State. This funding and additional resources for our law enforcement agencies and community-based organizations will help in further reducing crime across Monroe County. I am proud to work alongside government partners who make decisions based upon facts and data, prioritizing finding solutions to our most pressing challenges as a community. As I call your organization, I ask that you stand up and be recognized. Common Ground Health, if anyone is present from there. Yeah. Pathways to Peace, please remain standing. Pathways to Peace. Rise Up Rochester. Rock the Peace. 585 Snug, and Untrapped Ministries. I want to say to each of you, I thank you and I honor you for the work that you do and your commitment to this community. These are individuals who are wholeheartedly committed and constantly thinking, how do they work collectively together, as well as with members of law enforcement, to effect needed change in this community. So I thank you, and God bless each and every one of you. You may be seated. Prevention is key. You know, talking to individuals, something that I often say is something that we can all do that has absolutely zero fiscal implication is speak life into one another. Speak life, speak love into one another. You know, my team, my delegation, I call it, we're a team. We work together collectively. And, you know, we often, you know, we have to have some big shoulders, you know, to take the blows or what have you. But I'm thankful for a team in government that has committed to stop focusing on winning the argument and focus on solving the problems. I'll say that again. I am blessed, I am thankful for a team that is committed to not focus solely on winning the argument, but focus on solving problems in our community. The resources to fight crime, we heard the numbers. We hear of all who are involved. But when we look at our community, we recognize the challenges. We recognize challenges of housing insecurity, and I'm thankful that we're in a position as a city to pass good cause eviction to advocate for the thousands of people who are struggling to stay in their houses. We also look at the food insecurities right here in many of our communities, the food deserts, the garbage that our children often have access to. We have to recognize those challenges and be intentional in providing quality food and quality resources to our children. Then when we look at those who are often involved in some of the most heinous acts in our community, you'll find that there's a direct correlation with their education levels or their inability to read. And I'm thankful to have a governor that has committed to invest tens of millions of dollars in educating our children by going back to a system of phonics, in which we learn how to read for generations and centuries on by phonics. I'm one who often look at the challenges. There's a thing that we often deal with called ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. We all have them, and they rear their faces in different ways. We have to recognize those things and make sure that we're reaching out and touching those who are in need, in particular our children. And I implore each individual in this room, if you haven't done so yet, each one teach one. Who is your mentee? Who is your mentee? If you are a member of law enforcement, if you are a member of government, if you are an everyday citizen, civilian in the Rochester community, who are you rearing up behind you in a positive light? Teaching them what it means to be a man, teaching them what it means to be a woman, teaching them what it means to be a caring individual in a loving community. Again, I'll say this. May we continue to work collaboratively together to our members of law enforcement, to our members of the peace collectives. We are truly stronger together. To the members of this community, we are stronger together. So may we collectively stop focusing on winning arguments and focus on solving problems. Thank you all. And next up, we have to speak the great mayor of this great city, Mayor Malik Evans.
Thank you, and thank you all for being here today. And let me thank our governor for coming to City Hall. It's not often that you can call a governor and then within weeks she is here. I always tell folks, my first business day in office was January 3rd. It was a Monday. The first elected official that I met with was Governor Kathy Hochul. It was at the height of COVID. At the height of the challenges that we were having, the county executive and I, the governor was here, and she's been coming here before that, and she continues to show up anytime we call or ask. We could not ask for a better partner than Governor Kathy Hochul. Give her a round of applause. I want to thank this delegation who has been tireless in advocating for resources that we get back to this community. I'm a banker by profession, so there's always a lot of talk. I add it up by the dollars. And Rochester has gotten more resources from this governor and this delegation more so in the last 30 years. And it's a fact. It's not hyperbole. It's not just me standing up here saying something. The budget office can give you those numbers. Now, that is something that is absolutely critical in order for us to be able to solve the tough problems that we have as it relates to public safety. Now, you often heard about the year-over-the-year averages that the governor mentioned, but the 5-year average is something that we look at regularly. So I want to thank the Rochester Police Department and all our other members of law enforcement, our sheriff and the state police that are here, and all of our community partners that you heard the governor and the assembly members mention for their help in helping us to drive down these numbers. You cannot drive down crime without having strong collaboration. And also our strong collaboration with Monroe County Executive Adam Bello, and also I want to mention also the members of our city council. The majority of the members of our city council who have supported the dollars, such as GIVE, that come through here. We have to vote in order to accept those dollars, and city council has supported those dollars, and GIVE has been a great representation of how we've been able to have some success here. So the 5-year numbers, you look at those, shootings over a 5-year time period, down 44%. Overall total gunfire instances, which we look at as a marker, down 32% over the 5-year average. Now, does that mean that we are standing up doing the Tootsie Roll or the bang head bounce Some of you guys don't know what those dances are, or patting ourselves on the back. We are not. Because those numbers have an asterisk on them when we know I lose family, like Taisha Manning, who is family, and I say family because she worked for the city of Rochester, and she was a member of this community. Or Felicia Council, because she is and was a member of this community. Situations like Maplewood make people feel that angst, that sense that even though we are rowing in the right direction, we still have work to do. When you're Mr. Chase and his family, and you're being hit by a stolen car by juveniles, that brings to the surface that although we are pressing on the upward way and reaching new heights every day, that we still cannot rest on our laurels, and that we must push to make sure that we continue to bring into our community the transformational change that we need in order to take Rochester to the next level. Well, we are moving, and we are going in that direction, because as I look around the room, I look at all of the organizations that were mentioned, that were part of the Peace Collective, that are helping to bring down those numbers that we have. And if we continue to stay with our goal of prevention, intervention, and suppression, I promise you that we will continue to see change in our community. But I also want to say to the cowards and punks and suckers who were present when many of these crimes that we know have happened. The pictures are out there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make sure that we continue to put the pictures out of the individuals who perpetrated these crimes. It is not a secret who they are, or if they are persons of interest. Their pictures are bright as day. Some of them may have decided to leave the city, but the long arms of the law will prevail, and we will get those individuals. And we will get those individuals because we have leaders like Kathy Hochul that has put together this great partnership of individuals that are working together. If we continue to try to work in our own silos, we won't get nothing done. We won't get anything done, but when we work collectively, there's nothing that we cannot accomplish, and we have, for all of you prosecutors or lawyers, People's Exhibit A. And People's Exhibit A is the 5-year average and the year-over-year declines that we have seen. But we cannot stop, we cannot rest, and we must continue to push on. I also want to thank law enforcement, but I want to give a special thanks, Governor Hochul, to the New York State Police. The New York State Police has been on speed dial for myself and the chief. Anytime we've had a tragedy in this community and we've needed help, they have answered the call. We understand that they cover the entire state. But Mr. Superintendent, Madam Governor, your New York State Police have been an invaluable partner to the city of Rochester, and as mayor, I am always opening my arms to ask for support here in Rochester. And to our community groups, many of you are members of the Rochester Peace Collective. I think the majority of you are, except for maybe one or two. Rise Up Rochester, Rock the Peace, Untrapped Ministries, all the others, I can't say thank you enough. Wanda Ridgway is probably tired of us calling her every other day saying we need you to move somebody, we need you to intervene in a dispute. I cannot thank you enough. And Zeke Tukes, who just took over Pathways to Peace and is doing a lot of work in the violence prevention space, along with my violence prevention advisor, Vic Saunders. You guys have been doing great work in looking for ways to tweak the model to make it more responsive. What I want to say to this community is that we should not lose heart, and that we should continue to press on and continue to say that one homicide is too many, as I always say. But know that when you have the governor of the state of New York coming from Albany at a time when so much is happening, taking time to come to City Hall, that should give this community the peace of mind to know that people in high places care about a city in upstate New York on the banks of Genesee. That we have a delegation that is willing to go to bat and to the mat for resources on behalf of our community. That we have a county executive who has said that Rochester is not just some far outpost place, but they are a part of the county, and we will work collectively with them to bring changes. This is how we will bring transformational change in our community, and this is how we will continue to see the positive trajectory that we are pushing on. So I thank you all for being here today, and I thank the governor for her leadership and all that she has done for Rochester and the state of New York. Thank you so much, everybody.